Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this edition of Drive Time here on this lovely Monday, August 17th. I am joined again by, of course, my co-host, Sarah, who's run away somewhere, and Scooter. So, Scooter, we'll start with you. How you doing today? Fine, sir.
Good. It's Good Monday. Had a good weekend, and got to see a rock band in Rehoboth Beach. That is an army rock band from DC, and they even had a hip hop guy, and it was all like it was really good, and everything was like really upbeat and positive. So it was awesome. It was a good little event, and then the rain held off, so it was fun. And then it was funny seeing all of them like playing bass guitar and everything in their army fatigues. And then they had this one. She was a staff sergeant. She was running around like she was like ho ho ho. It's just the funniest thing to watch. But they were awesome.
That sounds like a good time. I always do love a good live show. Let's see here who's checking in. Well, look at that, the Boss B man checking in, saying howdy. Well, howdy, how you doing there, sir? I don't know why I said it that way. I think because he put in the howdy, so then I go howdy. Like what's her name from Hee Haw, right? Minnie Pearl. Howdy.
Oh my gosh, Minnie Pearl.
How about that? There's a blast from the past, huh? So
Yeah.
of course, I don't know where Sarah went to. She was right here, and then poof, she disappeared.
Here.
Right when where are you?
Can you not see me?
No, like all I see is your background.
Oh.
No, we're seeing ghosts here.
Yeah.
What the heck?
All right. So now we have, ladies and gentlemen, the ghost of Sarah is now here. So Sarah, how are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I swear I'm alive. But that's so weird. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like we can see your background, but you have disappeared.
I'm here. I swear. That's wow. Okay. Okay. Hopefully we'll get that fixed out.
If not, it makes it. I think it's instead of like what you eaten, what you've done that before. With eating now you've done it. Now you're doing a disappearing act. It's fun. All right. Well, while you hear Sarah, but don't see
it's
Sarah.
full on Sam Darnold. I'm seeing.
That's right.
I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Oh, Mrs. Bossman. We got the Mr. and Mrs. Bossman all checking in at the same time. What a better. What a happy family to check in and together. I love it. So of course, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and of course X. And now we're 24/7 on YouTube. And you can listen to us next day on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, Podbean, and Castbox. So lots of ways to check us out here on the good old Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. But we're glad that you're joining us here live. So with that being said, further ado, let's get to it. Of course, we've been doing a pretty good role of not having to do any rest in peace, but now the last couple of weeks we're back to having to do these again. This one, of course, the shocking from today, Hayden Panettiere, an actress who has only died at the age of 36. She gets a special mention because if you're a fan of the movie Remember the Titans, which I think probably a lot of people are, I think it goes down as maybe one. It's usually the argument of one of the top 3 or 4 football, if not sports films of all time. So she played, of course, the young 10-year-old Cheryl Yost, the enthusiastic football loving daughter of assistant coach Bill Yost, but I loved her most. Her performance in Malcolm in the Middle. She was great in that show. And then she, of course, later became the cheerleader Claire Bennett in Heroes, and then later went on to star as Juliet Barnes in Nashville. She's only 36. She was found dead in Greenville, South Carolina. The investigation's ongoing, so I am not going to add to any speculation as to how she passed or anything like that. But it's well known that she has struggled with health and substance abuse. She had a daughter in 2014, and she suffered tremendously with postpartum depression. And she broke a book lately, came out about just some abuse that she dealt with as a childhood actress as well. So either way, it's very, very sad. And anytime anyone passes away at this young, so. Best wishes to her family, and I'll just leave it at that for as far as the official news of it goes. So, Scooter, any thoughts on Hayden?
Well, I mean, she goes more into sports than just the football movie, the Remember the Titans, which is a fun movie. It's a great movie, and it takes place in Alexandria, Virginia. So a whole bunch of us who lived there when that movie came out, that was like kind of like the local movie, if you will.
Right.
But her ex-husband was with Vladimir Klitschko, the boxer, and his brother is Vitaly, who's the mayor of where's it? Kiev, Ukraine, which is in the news all the time, as it should be. So it's really interesting that she has that background too. But when she was with her ex-husband, you would see these pictures. He's this gigantic beast of a human being, huge muscles, just tall. And then she's the smallest she must have been 5'2", 90 pounds. Because she was just a small little petite woman, younger woman. And it's just the two of them is just totally different. But yeah, rest in peace to her and her family. It's really sad when somebody young like that goes. So, a lot of life left.
Midnight Rider, the Queen of Mystery equals Showtime. Sarah, so Queen of Mystery, any thoughts on Hayden?
Can we see me now? Has that changed?
Nope. You've disappeared.
Is it still the same background like in my room? Because I
Yes.
moved to my living room. I even turned off the camera.
Yeah, the living. All we see is your bedroom. So you're not even in your bedroom anymore?
Oh my gosh. Okay. What is going on right now? I'm so confused. I'm having
This is
technical
great.
difficulties over here.
Here, we'll use that picture.
There you go. A quick drawing from. So, Sarah, any thoughts on Hayden?
Hold on.
We hear the dogs barking.
Of course, but you still can't see me.
Still can't see you.
Wasn't she a voice in one of those cartoon movies back in the 90s?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Pretty sure she was.
There's probably something that I could see her doing something like that. There's so much stuff that she did. I mean, she was in Scream.
Yeah.
I forgot that one too.
She looks familiar, so I'm pretty sure I have seen like a movie or two from her. Obviously it's devastating. I was reading something saying her parents have, lost both of their children. They lost their son 3 years ago, and now they've lost Hayden. So absolutely devastating for them for sure. So condolences to them. But I think I do know her. I just don't really remember her from much. I think she was in The Ice Princess. Maybe it was from that. I probably remember.
She was in that. Yep. Yeah, she was in that one too. Yeah, that's a good show. If you want to watch her in Heroes, that's a good show. You can probably, I don't know what it's on now, but it's probably on something that you'd like that show too. That's a good one. That's why I liked her in. Although the Carnival season is stupid, but that's a digression. We can say that for when we discuss Heroes one day if we ever do that. So
her passing is reminiscent to when Brittany Murphy passed away like 15 years ago, and she was like 32. And she was King of the Hill, Clueless. She was really a great actress. I think she was in the Eminem movie. So she was really a good actress, and she had some mega health issues that took her life at the end there.
Same. Yeah, it's just sad when it happens, that's for sure. So then on the other end of the spectrum, for all you younger whippersnappers out there, Tommy John is not just the name of a surgery. He actually did, was a real live pitcher. He actually did pitch for many, many teams. He pitched for 26 seasons from 1963 to 1989. Of course, he had the famous surgery, which is the ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction, now known as the Tommy John surgery. That was back in '74. Career record of 288 and 231 with a 3.34 ERA, 2,245 strikeouts. Surprisingly, he's not in the Hall of Fame. I think he's always one of the ones that always comes up as debate of should he be in the Hall of Fame? Should he not be in the Hall of Fame? But he is not in there yet. He's never been able to get over the hump. He's never really even come close. I mean, the closest he had was like 35%, and he needed 75%. And then in one of the other categories later where you need 12 votes, he could only get 7 votes to get him in. So will he ever get in there? Probably not at this point in time. I don't know if he's run his course of being able to get in later or not, but either way, was a damn good pitcher before he had the surgery. And back then, if you got this ligament damage, you likely were toast as a pitcher. Your days of pitching were likely done. He was the first one to have the surgery, and look, it's changed how people are now able to recover and still be able to pitch after having this ligament go away. So, Scooter, what are your thoughts on Tommy John?
So, okay, well, personally, I used to watch Tommy John from it must have been 86 to 89 when he was on the Yankees. He was one of my top 5 ball players on that team. Like, there's Willie Randolph, Donnie Mattingly, Ron Guidry, Dave Winfield, and Tommy John. And Tommy John had the slowest I mean, the wind up and his, by that point, he was in his late mid 40s. And it wasn't all there, but he was still like capable. He was still capable. In fact, in 1987, he was 44 years old. He had 3 complete games and a shutout at 44 years old. Who gets 3 complete games today at 24 years old?
Right. Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And so in his 26th season, he had 288 wins and 231 losses. There's only at Hall of Fame pitchers, there's only 14 of them that have 275 wins or more. And he has a 500 record. Now, I was always like, he's not a Hall of Famer, but his career was 334. He had 46 shutouts in 162 complete games. And that complete game thing and those shutouts that's something. Because we just don't see that anymore. So one of the interesting things is that, so in 1975 is when he had to have that surgery, 74, 75. So he made a joke about, like, I told the doctor to give me Sandy Koufax's elbow, and he gave him Mrs. Koufax's elbow. Because he just wasn't be able to throw as fast. So, but these are the 5 seasons after he came back. And this is with the Dodgers and the Yankees. 10-10, his first year back, 20-7, 17-10, 21-9, 22-9 after that surgery. So I don't know. Maybe he needs to get another look at the Hall of Fame. I wish, if they did, they should have done it earlier. But obviously,
we chat about that. I agree. We chat about that in our group chat. If does he belong or doesn't belong? And I'm still kind of, I don't know. I'm on the fence with him. I think of course now. Whether or not pitchers are even going to hit 288 wins, let alone 300 anymore. Like, it just doesn't seem to happen. You just don't have your starting pitchers go long enough to get 20 wins in a season. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards you. I think he should be in, maybe, but I don't know if he's hit all the. I don't know through the one committee if he can get another shot again or not. So Midnight Rider put in Showtime.
Dominating guy out there, but he was always able to long innings. And he was, he only made like 4 All-Star games in 26 seasons. So, and those are like his accolades. 4 All-Star games. He has like no other awards. So, I'm sorry, you put something up there.
Yeah, it was Showtime is doing her Best John Cena, which now she's completely disappeared. So she's trying to figure out her technical difficulties, probably making it worse. So so Scooter.
I've never heard of Tommy John. I only know of his elbow.
There you go. That's probably something about what she would have said. I think that's pretty spot on. So, all right. So let's do some quick football. Of course, last weekend was the first weekend of preseason. Hey, I think that is a real Sarah, not a ghost of Sarah.
Nope. Okay.
And it speaks. All right. Look at that. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. See what happens. So, all right, our first weekend of preseason games get in. So just a few things to hit on. Mendoza makes his Vegas debut. Not too bad, 10 for 16, 97 yards. He did throw a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, who started the game for the Raiders, also he started that game. He had a touchdown in his only drive. So, if you're a Mendoza fan or if you're a Vegas Raider fan, pretty happy with what you got from seeing the first 2 quarterbacks. If the sad part for the Raiders side could be, they have Bowers at tight end and Myers at tight end. Their wide receiver group is interesting to say the least. So they're gonna, I don't know who they're gonna have to throw the ball to other than their running backs and tight ends because their receivers just do not seem to be so good. So, Sarah, any thoughts on the Raiders being a somewhat of a sad Raider fan like myself?
The quarterback, it was great to see from Cousins and Mendoza. The only thing that disappoints me is that we still managed to lose against the Cardinals, which I feel like isn't a great sign for the regular season. But I'm not really sure how different preseason is compared to other sports for football. But it's definitely questionable, and it seems to see like we still need to make some moves around and make sure what fits best for this team.
I don't read too much into the wins or losses because you just never know who's going to play who for how long and that. And so I'm not terribly, the starters only really played one series. So we'll see. But Scooter, anything on Mendoza and his first start?
Yeah, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm excited because he looked good. And Clint Kubiak, the offense he's going to instill in there and they're going to be in games. And it's probably going to be, Captain Kirk at first, but then they got to put him in at some point when, all it's going to take is one, Kirk thing. But I think they're looking good. I wouldn't worry about their wide receiving core right now. Just, get this thing, taken care of here. They got Alshon Gentry, really good player. So.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. Then another quarterback debut, Drew Aller, made his debut for Pittsburgh, and he really had a solid one. 10 for 13, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a win for Pittsburgh over Green Bay. So we'll see. Obviously, I don't think he's going to. I don't think one Aaron Rodgers has to worry quite yet, but. If this is one more year and done for Rodgers, I think maybe there could be something there in Drew Aller for the Steelers moving forward. Sarah, anything on that one?
It's hard to say. It's definitely, again, a good start for Pittsburgh, but I'm not really sure exactly how the season's going to go for them. I think I need to see some regular season games before anything.
Scooter, anything on the Steelers' first game?
Yeah, so, let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers is not a good quarterback anymore, and he's going to throw a lot of short passes this year like he did last year. What's the running back Warren? I think he's going to do nicely there. When you have it out, he's not ready to play in the NFL yet. So there was a lot of young guys that did quarterbacks that did really well against young guys on defense that aren't going to be there in about 3 weeks. But, that's good for them. And Mike McCarthy, that offense will work. I like how they picked up Pittman. He's going to really do well because Pittman is a chain mover. And that's all Aaron Rodgers needs to do is toss to someone that's going to get 9 to 10 yards. And that's what he'll do. DK Metcalf's going to be there for the deep balls. But, it's good to see Aller. Maybe this will turn into something. Obviously, he should sit and see what happens with the whole season. That's the best way to do it for him right now.
I agree. And then maybe the only city that has a true quarterback battle was Cleveland. Deshaun Watson started this game, goes 11 for 15, 126 yards. Didn't throw any touchdown passes, but the Browns, they only scored 10 points. Their 10 points they scored was while Deshaun was at quarterback. Then Sanders comes in, 6 for 11, 79 yards, does throw a pick. Didn't look particularly great with the second string. They state that for this week now, Sanders will get the start and Watson plays with the second team. And then allegedly they're going to make a decision after these 2 games, but we will see what happens next week. But look, it's a game against Chicago. Chicago played none of their starters at all. So, I don't know what to necessarily make of it yet, but I guess it sounds like advantage Watson after game 1. Sarah, any thoughts on Cleveland?
Cleveland's always had a quarterback battle, so it's not exactly shocking to me. The thing is, there's really not a lot of good pieces on that team anyways. So, you can call it a battle, but it's just like a battle for mediocrity at this point.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
Scooter?
that. Definitely Watson's in the lead on this one. He's got that experience too. I know he's got, it's been a rough few seasons for him with the injuries and all the, the off the field stuff that's his own entire fault. But in Houston, he was really a good quarterback. And his athleticism helped him as well. But he's a national championship winning quarterback. This guy, he knows how to play. He's big, tall. So it's his to lose. And I think that Sarah, I think Showtime is a little more correct in this. It's just mediocrity right now.
I agree. I thought it was so good it deserved to be added onto the counter. So Sarah's battle for mediocrity counter is at 1. So all right. Then a nice little segment here. We did this last week. We're going to call this Scooter's. So Scooter, what do you got from your any other thoughts out there from week 1 of the preseason?
Yeah, so last week we can talk about no injuries. This week we're talking about some injuries. Today, Breece Hall. He went down today with a right thigh issue. He should be okay, but that's he did go down today. The Vikings, they recently signed Jamal Adams. he tore his groin, so he just signed with them. He's done for the year. It's this other groin, not the one that he tore a few years ago in Seattle. So he's having some tough issues with that. The Cowboys signed 98-year-old Von Miller, who actually, when he was with Washington, he did okay. So hopefully that doesn't turn into anything good. But it's Von Miller, so he's really great. Tua is the guy down in Atlanta. Michael Penix, he's not even doing 11-on-11s. He's not even really practicing with them. Puka, and Myles Garrett, they remain out. They're not practicing either. And then the Skins, the Washington Commanders, kicked out their kicker, Jake Moody, who was drafted a few years ago in the 3rd round to San Francisco. Now they turn to undrafted rookie Drew Stevens from Iowa. They'll probably have to bring in someone there to kick against him too. So there might be some troubles in Washington with that.
Washington and kicking always seems to be an adventure for some reason.
Did you guys see like the possible picture of like with the allegations with Puka Nacua and the bite mark? Did you see like the?
I've not seen it, but I've heard the story, because the story I think kind of started to come out towards the end of last year, but I did not see the picture of it.
In the last week, a picture came out, and it's insane. I don't like the supposed.
The dude's running around. He's like, "Oh, I just got," he just went to rehab, and then he's at parties. Like, you know what I'm going to do when I go to rehab? It's the first thing I'm going to do is go to a party with a lot of booze. What's he doing? I know he's young and all, and he's just making bad mistakes. And it's going to get to the point, like he's going to get to that, like he's going to need to re-up. And, and all it takes is Matthew Stafford to go down, and then all of a sudden he's not a very good running wide receiver.
Well, that could be true.
There could be quite a few Pukas out there who could have done everything Puka did in that offense out there with Stafford.
Quite a few Pukas.
Quite a few Pukas.
Quite a few Pukas. I like it. All right. You guys got anything else on the football stuff here before we wrap it up? All right. Sounds like a wrap up to me. So when we come back, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some baseball. We've got some news from the week, and then we'll look at the standings another week later, and we will give some previews of who we think are going to win the awards, such as Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP. So we'll do all of that right after this. And we are back. Sorry, I forgot my order of things. Before we get into baseball, we're going to first go around the track. Forgot about our little NASCAR segment here. So we're going to go around the track here. Then we're going to go around. We're going to make a right turn. Then we're going to make another right turn. Then we're going to make another right turn. All right, there we go. That's all I know on NASCAR. So I'm going to turn this part over to Scooter, and then Sarah can throw in some comments here as well. So this was a request from Midnight Rider, who had asked for kind of a going over of what the playoff changes are and how this is all going to work for NASCAR. So Scooter, let's go ahead here and take it away with the first off, what the rule changes there were from this year.
Excuse me, it's not right turns, it's a bunch of left turns.
Left turns, right. Make a left turn.
James Ginsberger from wherever he's from, like New Zealand, he'll do a bunch of left and right turns because he's good at that. But yeah, it's a bunch of left turns. So Sarah, you want to go?
Yeah, sure, I can go. So I haven't really paid much attention to it. Obviously, I'm going to lock in because there are 2 races left until the playoffs. Playoffs start September 6th. I'm excited for it. Playoffs. But obviously we'll show it later on. But I think one thing to especially note, so we have 7 racer or drivers that have already clinched, and there's still 9 spots left. Bubba Wallace, as of right now, he's technically in, but like he's kind of fallen off. Yes, the 2311 team is having great success, but it's more so in other drivers more so than him. So I mean, I'd like to see him. I think he still will be able to make it. It'll just be interesting to see how far he does make it overall in the races for the playoffs. So
playoffs.
All
right, Scooter. So what is new this year compared to last year?
Well, last year they used to have it. It could be 16, 18 guys qualified, depending. You got to win, you're in.
Yeah.
So this year they changed it up to it's 16 qualifiers. It'll be 16 only, and it's the top 16 points that they get. So they'll get points from wins, They'll get points from stage wins. You'll get points from if you lead a lap, you get a few points. And there's a few ways to get points like that. So all those points are going to continue just like that. But last year, what they did was every 2 races, there'd be like 4 guys get knocked out. So then, but meanwhile, you're having like 32 cars racing. Everyone's racing. So it would go down to the final 2 races would be the final 4, if you will. And then, of course, the champion is based upon that. Whoever wins that final race wins it all. But this year, all those points, everyone is in it. All 16 races are in it till the final race, just depending on your points where you're in the points. And that goes back to how it used to be a lot back in the day before they had playoffs. And they just had seasonal points, which is kind of boring. And that's why people didn't watch it too much. But, as Showtime said, it all starts September 6th. That Sunday. It's at the Cookout Southern 500 in Darlington. Darlington, the track too tough to tame.
So these are the drivers that have clinched from what I've been told: Danny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell. That means if you do your math correctly, there are 9 spots left. And as they've said, the playoffs start September 6th. So Scooter, of the 9 spots left, I mean, are there anyone that looks like they haven't mathematically clinched, but they're going to be in it?
So I kind of brought this up last week. So the top 5, 4 of the top 5 are racing Toyotas. And they're either in Joe Gibbs Racing, they're either in 23 or 11, or if you're Denny Hamlin, you're in both. And so I found that quite like Ryan Blaney, who's from Hartford County, Ohio, by the way. You can put Hartford down, different Ohio, different Connecticut. Like he's from
we don't
Ohio.
specify the Dave, Hartford. Yeah.
His dad Dave was a longtime racer, but Ryan, he actually won a championship before too. But he is with Roger Penske, and he's the only Ford non-Toyota up there. He's with Ford. But like you were talking about Bubba losing track, Tyler Reddick had such a good beginning of the year, and he's been horrible the past like month and a half. He's still in 4th, but he is declining like Bubba is. Yeah. Now, guys look at Carson Hocevar. He's looking good. Kyle Larson, you should always look at him. And my guy, and I know Showtime's guy, Billy Byron. Yes. So, and then there's Daniel Suarez. He's from Mexico. He's been driving for years now, and he's in the race in the hunt too. But people to look at would be William Byron and Kyle Larson that are out of the top 5.
Scooter, do you think I'm crazy to think that Ross Chastain is going to be able to make his way into the playoffs? I feel like he's going to be able to pull it off. He's like 2 spots behind, but
he can't do it like he did a few years ago, where he did that Ross Chastain lap on the final lap of the final race to get into the playoffs, where he hit the gas and he went flying past every car because he was just riding it across on the wall. And then
hopefully he does that again. I want to see him in the playoffs.
I'd like to,
playoffs.
If you can get him in the playoff, he's fun. He's a fun guy. He's cool. He does this watermelon thing. He smashes it if he wins. So hopefully that'll go on. So he's cool.
It's like a Gallagher impersonation, except he doesn't have the sledgehammer, so he doesn't have the sledge-o-matic.
Yeah.
No,
he wins the race. He takes his big watermelon and then he smashes it from the top of the car. Then he goes down and grabs pieces of it and eats it.
All right. I could go for that. That sounds good. This is my Annie Lane checking in, saying that she's watching, enjoying the show. So thanks for checking in. So there you go. Always like the family coming on and checking out the show. That's always good to see. All right. Anything else for NASCAR before we get into some baseball?
Now drop the hammer, baby. Let's go.
All right. So with that being said, let's get into some baseball talk here, if we shall. There was a little bit of fun from this weekend. If you didn't see the debut for Joshua Baez, he had one hell of a debut for the Cardinals. It was against the Cubs. His first 3 at-bats, he hits 3 home runs. The first home run went 449 feet, was just a complete bomb out to straightaway center field in Wrigley Field. He did have 34 home runs in 103 games at AAA, but needless to say, it was quite a debut. He is the first player ever to hit 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats in all of Major League history. So that is one heck of a debut for sure. Scooter, did you see that on Saturday?
I did. And, on Sunday, early Sunday morning, I went to pick him up in fantasy, and someone picked him up like 2 days earlier.
Huh.
It's like, wow. Someone's, they got a lot of points for him. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
they did.
good on the day. One heck of a debut.
Sarah, any thoughts on the Baez debut?
No, but I mean, good stats. I wasn't watching the game, unfortunately. So.
And then there was a nice little battle this weekend in the NL. The Brewers and the Dodgers had a nice little 3-game series out in LA, which the Brewers took 2 out of 3. I'm sure, Sarah, that was music to your ears when you saw that the Brewers took 2 out of 3. What are your thoughts on it?
No, like you said, music to my ears. I think everything is finally coming into play with my predictions. The Dodgers' downfall is happening, and it's great timing.
We'll see. Hopefully I hope you're right. I really do, but I just think that they just don't care right now. That's my honest opinion. But we'll see. Who knows how that'll play out? What'd you think of that series, Scooter?
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers are looking good, and again, LA's been beatable over the past month since the trade deadline, at least. So,
yeah, 5-15 in the last 20. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then the other big series was in the AL Central Division, where the Detroit Tigers were hoping to get back into this thing, and instead the White Sox sweep Detroit. Basically the White Sox just keep winning, and the rest of the AL Central just keeps on falling, which means that for the first time ever, we could have a team that it goes back-to-back seasons with 100 losses and then wins the division next year. That has never happened in baseball. It's looking like that's going to change this year, because I definitely don't see any team in the AL Central that's going to catch up with Detroit. And just to show you, there it is. They have a 5.5 game lead now over Detroit after this weekend. So any thoughts on the White Sox and the sweep of Detroit, Scooter?
I mean, it's just like Chicago just keeps doing it. So no one saw that coming. So it's be interesting.
No, I thought they'd be better this year. I did not see them being above 500. I definitely did not see them winning the Central Division. That's for
I
sure.
mean, this is just insane.
Yep. Sarah, anything on the AL Central?
I don't know if it makes sense. Maybe it's like the Ohio-Michigan rivalry, but I prefer Chicago being number 1 in the Central over Detroit. So I'm happy with it.
I think this version of Chicago's got players that are fun to watch, and they hit a lot of home runs. So I mean, I don't mind this version. I don't mind this version of Chicago being it leading the division, especially with how terrible my Guardians are playing right now. It's just god awful. So that's the look at the AL. In the East, Tampa's still maintaining its nice cushion on the Yankees and Red Sox. Really not a lot of movement there, although and we'll get to this on the next screen. Tampa Bay struggled a little bit this weekend with Baltimore, which has gotten Baltimore kind of right back into it. Out west, it's still kind of a 3-team race. You got Houston in the lead with Texas and Seattle. So right now, not really a lot of change from last week as far as the division goes. Any thoughts on these division races, Scooter?
Well, I just find it interesting on the East. Before the season started, I said the American League East will be the division that has all teams at 500 or more. And they're getting close.
They're getting close.
And they're getting closer.
Yep. From how bad they started too, it was, it's crazy that you got the O's are 2 games out and Toronto's 4 games out, from the 500 mark. So definitely closer. Sarah, anything on the division races before we get into the wild card?
Well, obviously with the East, I'm happy with Tampa being over the Yankees. That always brings joy to my heart. And the West, I think that Texas will overtake Houston again. We hate Houston here too, so I think Texas will be able to take over because let's be honest, they deserve it more than the Astros.
Didn't they just win recently, both of them?
I think so, but yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
They both won. They both won, World Series over the past 6 years. So
they have, yes, that's true. And so then in the wild card, this is where it gets fun in the AL. The Yankees and Red Sox, barring something really crazy happening, they should be in the first playoff spot for sure. The Red Sox should be in the second one unless something happens. There's still really only 3 teams out: KC, the A's, and the Angels. The race though is for this third wild card spot, which, don't look now, Baltimore is now your third wild card team. If the season ended today, they won the first 3 games against the Rays. They played the Rays today. I have not looked to see what that score was. I should go look real quick. So they could complete a 4-game sweep of the Rays. But Baltimore's now in. Texas only half game out. You have 6 teams separated by 2.5 games for the third spot. So look, and as terrible as the Guardians have played, if you're a Guardians fan and you're looking for anything to try and be anything even remotely hopeful about. Their next 12 games are against the Giants, the Rockies, and then they play the Angels, and I can't remember the other one, but they're playing 4 really bad teams. So they're playing 4 teams that they could go 10-2 on. They probably need to go on a 10-2 run to get back into this thing realistically. But Scooter, out of those teams, who is going to be that third wild card?
Yeah, I mean, the Baltimore thing is just the thing right now. If there's anyone, I do believe it's going to be Toronto. They're coming back. I mean, they got some pitching issues again, but I think it's going to be Toronto. They're just too good.
Sarah, who do you like for the third wild card?
Sorry, dog. I mean, obviously, I would wish that Cleveland would pull it off, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little from the outside because I mean, we've just not been playing great recently. It's very hit or miss. But I like Texas for being the third wild card, to be honest. I mean, obviously, if they still, even like in my predictions with them taking over Houston, say if they didn't, I think they would pull off the third wild card spot. I think it's their wild card spot or first in the West.
Gotcha. I'll go. I look. I'd love to go Homer and say Cleveland, but Scooter, I'm with you. I think it's going to be Toronto. They're starting. Things are starting to click there, and it just seems like they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. So I think things are starting to click in Toronto. So I'll agree with you on that one, and I'll go with Toronto. In the National League, again, same thing here on the division side. Not really a lot of change. Philly and Miami still way back from Atlanta. Milwaukee still carrying a nice 5-game lead over the Cubs, thanks to their struggles against St. Louis. Milwaukee taking 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Even though the Dodgers just lose that series, they got a nice 7-game cushion over San Diego and Arizona. So I don't really see any of these division leaders not being in first when we get to the end of the season. Scooter, do you see anyone chasing any one of these 3 division leaders down?
I mean, it's getting late. It's getting late, so it's going to be tough for any of these teams to chase them down. You have to have like Atlanta, Milwaukee, or LA go on like epic dives, which the Dodgers are doing their best at that. But still, I don't see any of those teams failing. That's where we are with that.
I agree. Sarah, do you see any of these 3 division leaders somehow losing the division?
I see the Dodgers losing the division, but
that'd be I wonder if that'd be worse than the collapse that Detroit had last year, because they're up 7 games going into near the end of August. That'll be interesting. I have to look at the stats to see where that was when Detroit did the collapse last year. But we'll see if that one holds true. So then in the NL, it's kind of similar. The race here is for 2 wild card spots, not just 1. Chicago's in pretty good shape. They got a 5-game lead over second and third place, and then the Diamondbacks. So they're looking pretty good right now. San Diego is in, Arizona is out. That changed from last week, but those 2 teams are neck and neck against each other. The Phillies are still right there to be caught as well. So here you have 6 teams, 6 teams basically battling for 2 spots. With Arizona, Miami, well, technically 7 teams, I'm sorry. 7 teams battling for the 2 spots with Arizona, Miami, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati on the outside right now. I almost took Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Washington out of this, saying that they're out of it. But not yet. They got one more week because they all 3 of these teams fell off. Washington had a bad series against the Mets. That didn't help them any for sure. So they're not officially dead yet, but they're officially on life support. They got one more week. They got to make up a couple games, or else I'm gonna throw them off of this list. So, Scooter, who do you like for these 2 wild card spots?
Well, I'm still sticking with what I said when the season started. That I think I said Washington's going to win like 72 to 74 games. So I still think they're going to win that. They're definitely not going to make the playoffs anymore, and that's okay. It's a good season, and you build upon this season, and you get better players if you want to do better. So we'll see what ownership wants to do. But management's all on board. But when it comes to these guys, I can see Arizona taking over San Diego. That's where I'm at.
Sarah, what do you like on the wild card side? Anything changed from last week for you?
I think it's still very safe to say it's going to move around between Philly, San Diego, Arizona, Miami. I think definitely those 4 are obviously more set for the competition of these 2 spots. I'm trying to think like how much it would move around though. I mean, obviously, I think San Diego would still take LA's position. At least I would hope and pray, and put a lot of voodoo on that. But I don't know. I think Arizona definitely can still find a way in. And I don't know if Anthony's watching, but I think actually Miami might pull it off too.
My team to watch out for this whole thing because they're starting to play really good ball. They just took 2 out of 3 from the Cubbies. Don't sleep on those Cardinals. They won the game 1 of their doubleheader against Cincy today, 2-1. So now technically they are only 3 games out of this thing. I don't. It's another one of those teams. They always seem to hang around and be in it. So and this call Baez seems to have really put a little bit of life into that offense, and they're getting enough pitching. St. Louis is going to be my team that if anyone gets caught down for whatever reason. I don't know. I just got that they're giving me some good vibes with how they're playing right now. So St. Louis is going to be my surprise team to watch. All right, so there we have that. So now let's get into some of the fun with the rookie, with all the different awards. So we'll start off with our Rookie of the Year. On the AL side, this is really, it's a 3-man race, but I think it's Kevin McGonigal from Detroit seems to be the clear favorite right now. Minataka Murakami's having a hell of a year for the White Sox, and I wish people weren't sleeping on Parker Messick, who has a pitcher, is just putting together some great stats. So the lines here right now, Kevin is batting .281. He's got 80 runs, 129 hits, 12 homers, 48 RBIs. Murakami's only batting .235, but he does have 64 runs, 64 runs, 74 hits, 28 homers, 57 RBIs, and he did miss some time. Peter Messick has just been lights out for this Guards pitching staff. But he's only got a 9-7 record because this team just refuses to score runs when he pitches. He lost the game 2-0 the one night, and then lost the other game 1-0 against Tampa a couple weeks ago. So he just gets no help at all. But 142 innings pitched, 142 strikeouts. He's got a 2.59 ERA and a nice 1.033 whip. If you want to throw out one more little fun name from Baltimore, Samuel Basallo's having a nice little year, 282, 34 runs scored, 68 hits, 16 homers, 46 RBIs. So there are your stats. Scooter, who is your pick for AL Rookie of the Year as it stands right now?
McGonigal, 281 average. He's doing well. I mean, he's not there to hit homers. He has 12 homers this year. He's not there to hit, get a lot of RBIs. He has 49. So
he's also a damn good fielder too. He's been playing really well.
He's a very good shortstop. So I mean, he has it all when it comes to that. So that's me.
Sarah, who you got for AL Rookie of the Year?
I think definitely the favorite is McGonigal. Obviously, like you said, would love to see Messick get the appreciation that he deserves. But I think it's a fun little central battle going on though with Detroit, Chicago, and Cleveland all having runners in it.
It is crazy for how terrible the Central Division is. 3 of the top 4 rookies are from the Central Division, that's for sure. So on the NL side, it seems like it's mostly Sal Stewart to lose. Nolan McLean is still in it for the Mets, and then J.J. Weatherholt for St. Louis. These are really the only 3 candidates that are kind of left. Stewart's batting .259, 68 runs scored, 121 hits, 26 homers, 91 RBIs. McLean, 8-8, a 3.42 ERA, which isn't terrible, 136.2 innings pitched, 159 strikeouts, and a 1.13 whip. For JJ, he's only batting .243 with 81 runs, 111 hits, 16 homers, and 46 RBIs. So my view is I think this is going to be Sal's to lose unless he just falls apart this month. Scooter, who's your pick for NL Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, well, I'm going with Sal. I think that's going to happen with that. I mean, he's added 12 stolen bases as well. He strikes out a lot.
He does.
It's like 1 in 4.2. So he strikes out a lot, but you're a rookie, so he has time to figure that out. You would hope that, for your first baseman who's, blasting 26 home runs and 91 RBIs, you'd think he's like 6'4", 250, but the dude's only 6'1". So he's a good athlete, and so I think his average will get better, and he'll stop swinging at everything.
Maybe. Sarah, who do you like for NL Rookie of the Year?
I don't know who knows Becca this far, but one of my exes Nolan McLean is related to him. So like I would like to see him win, although I don't talk to the sex anymore. Just because like I
think I
don't
remember
know, like,
that story at the beginning of the year.
yeah. It's been a while, but I don't know. I still think that's a good story. And obviously North Carolina native, so I have to root for it, and it would be good for something good to happen to the Mets because So I'm rooting for McLean. So maybe that's the underdog. I'm not really sure.
All right, and then this race here, I think, is the one that is the most wide open, that can go any ways. You got Cam Schittler from the Yankees, who is just he's doing really, really well. Dylan Cease for Toronto. Those are probably your top two, but Sonny Gray for Boston I'll give these stats here. Drew Rasmussen from Tampa Bay, I'm also going to give his stats. And then you got 4 other pitchers that you can make an argument that they're still in the hunt for this thing with a month left to go. So real quickly, some stats here for the AL side. For Cam, he is 10-6 with a nice 2.19 ERA. 152 innings pitched. He's got 189 strikeouts, and he's got a whip of 941. Cease is 7-5 with a 242, 137.2 innings pitched. He has struck out 201 batters. He's got a nice 106.1 whip. Sonny Gray, he's got the win-loss. He's 15-3 with a 2.65 at 132 innings. He doesn't get the strikeouts though, so he's only got 117 strikeouts, but he does have a 1.146 whip. Drew for Tampa Bay, 12-5, 278 for his ERA, 129 innings pitched. He has 133 strikeouts, and a 9.912 is his whip. So there are your candidates. Scooter, who do you like for Cy Young with a month left to go?
Yeah, so this one was a real difficult. I mean, Dylan Cease, he's got really great numbers, but he's 7-5. I think he'll probably win. Schlittler, he's having a really good season. I mean, but it's nothing outrageously special. He's got wins. I think the dark horse in this is Sonny Gray, who's, he's really he's the reason why Boston, got through everything. And that record, his ERA. I don't care if you get 117 strikeouts. If you're getting people out, that's all that matters. I mean, I don't know how many double plays he has. I guarantee there's quite a few double plays in there. Maybe he's leading the league in double plays. I don't know. If he is, he should be it.
I like it. Sarah, who do you like for AL Cy Young?
This is a little harder one to predict for me. I don't want to give the Yankees any credit, but from what I've heard, I'm pretty sure Schlitter is the better option for it. But I mean, Williams and Messick, I'll be biased and root for them too.
Yeah, Gavin had a shot early in the year, but he just walks too many guys. He's just not been consistent. I think Parker's got the better shot rookie of the year than Cy Young. I kind of like Drew in Tampa Bay for the same kind of idea. He doesn't get the strikeouts, but he is 12-5 on a team that's leading the division. So I kind of like to see what Drew does the rest of the year, but I think it's going to be Cam's to lose, just because, I mean, a 2.19 ERA is still a 2.19 ERA. So that's really, really good. So, and especially in the Yankee ballpark, which is not known to be a pitcher's ballpark either. So not that Boston is either. So that both of those guys putting up the ERAs that they are is nice to see for sure. So that's the AL side of it. So now on the NL side, let's be honest. I think of all the races, this one is probably the least dramatic. It seems to be Jacobs to lose at this point in time, unless he just does something silly. I put Chris Sale and Christopher Sanchez on here too, but Jacob Mizrowski is 12-5 with a 1.75 ERA. Yes, that's an ERA under 2. He has pitched 139 innings and struck out 210 batters, and then his whip is a .748. It's just lights out numbers that Jacob is putting up right now. Sale, not bad, 12-8. He's got a 2.16 ERA, 129 innings, 160 strikeouts, a 1.016 whip. And Sanchez right there too, 15-4, 2.54, 155.2, 181 for his strikeouts, and 1.19. To be honest with you, if any of those two guys were in the American League, they might have a better shot of winning in the American League than they do the National League right now. So, Scooter, do you think anyone other than Jacob is winning this award?
No.
Okay.
No,
Sarah,
but I do find it interesting. Chris Sale, we talked about him earlier. It is funny because we talked about Tommy John. Is he a Hall of Fame guy? Is Chris Sale a Hall of Fame guy? He could be, even though Tommy John has over 100 more wins than he does, in like 130 more complete games than he does. But actually, Chris Sale hasn't had a complete game in like 7 seasons. But he'll probably go to the Hall of Fame. And this just once again proves he's a former Cy Young guy. He's a Gold Glove guy multiple times, All-Star all the time. So Sale's not going to do it this year because Jacob is just a sick. I don't know if he's human the way he does things, but I hope he doesn't blow his arm out.
I know.
But he's winning.
I mean, he's throwing 103, 104, 105 like all game long. That's my fear for him too, is when does he blow the arm out? But I hope he doesn't. Sarah, do you think anyone other than Jacob wins this thing?
No.
Okay. Anything else you want to add on that?
No.
I love it. So, all right. So now this one I think is also fun because I think for one, so I think we probably all agree, and I'm sure this really breaks Sarah's heart. It does not look like Aaron Judge is going to be winning the MVP this year. So right now you've got Yordan Alvarez for Houston, who I'll give the stats here in a little bit, but he's got a chance to do something very, very magical that hasn't happened in a really, really long time. Then you got Junior Caminero in Tampa Bay. You got Ben Rice for the Yankees, and I'm going to throw out Nick Kurtz for the A's. Bobby Witt Jr. maybe still possible, but right now I think it's either going to be Yordan or Junior. So these are Yordan has a chance to go for the Triple Crown, not just in the American League, but in all of baseball, which has not happened, I think, since like 1976 or something like that. I got to pull that stat back up for next time, but he's batting .321. He has 82 runs scored. He has 143 hits, 36 homers, and 88 RBIs. Right now he is leading the baseball with batting average. He's second, I think, in runs scored, and he's leading the AL in homers. He's got to catch Schwarber on the NL side, but he does have he's leading all three in the AL side, so he's got a shot at this thing. Junior is batting only .274, but has 77 runs, 128 hits, 35 homers, so he is right behind Yordan for the homers, and then 79 RBIs. And then Ben Rice has kind of struggled a little bit this last month, still batting .251. It's got 111 hits, 76 runs, 111 hits, 76 runs scored, 33 homers, and 78 RBIs. So he's right there, still probably 2, but I think it's a 2-man race. I'm taking Yordan right now for it because I love, I know we talk about our dislike for the Astros. I love history and anyone that's going for a triple crown. And Yordan wasn't there during the cheating days, so I kind of like him as a player. So I'm rooting for him. Scooter, who do you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think Yordan, there's no problem with that at all. With the stats you gave, he's also leading Major League Baseball in OPS at 1.05. So, I mean, I don't think this shouldn't be much of a challenge.
Scooter, what do you think? Or Sarah, what do you think on this one? Sorry, I was looking at Scooter, so that's why I came out.
I kind of like the Junior bit, to be honest. I think he'll be able to pull it off.
Midnight Rider just rubbing some salt in the wounds, asking who did the Guardians get in the Caminero deal, which was a big pile of nothing, right? Who was the official player we got back, Jared, from Caminero? Who do we get back when we traded away Junior Caminero? Who? Tobias Myers is who we got back, Midnight Rider, in that deal, who is no longer even, I don't think he's even in baseball anymore. So yeah, not a great deal that the Guards made, but because they couldn't figure out how to play Junior and Jose at the same time. So there you have it. Yeah, not good. All right, so that is the AL side. Now on the NL side, look, I think it's likely still going to be Shohei Ohtani. Like, his numbers for what he's been doing pitching wise and hitting are probably going to get it to them. I'd like to make an argument for Peter Crow Armstrong to possibly win this thing. I'll get the stats of those two. And then I still think, look, Jacob, I think, has got to be included in this mix. What he's doing, he should be included in the mix for the MVP. I think those are really, and I put down Matthew Olson, Kyle Schwarber, and then one CJ Abrams from Washington, who I think should still get some consideration, but it seems to be likely a 3-person show. So for Shohei, let me find his stats here real quick. He's batting .289, 128 hits, 77 runs scored, 27 homers, and 75 RBIs. He's not pitched quite as much this because they shut him down for the beginning part of the season, but he is still 8-2 with a 1.79 ERA and 85 innings. For Peter Crow Armstrong, he's batting .276, 131 hits, 87 runs scored, 28 homers, and 75 RBIs. Then, of course, Jacob's numbers I mentioned earlier. So, Scooter, who do you like for the NL MVP?
Well, it would be nice to see Pete get it. because of how the Cubs are doing this year. So like he's leading the charge. But I mean, Shohei, 289. You know, his OPS is 928. 27 homers, 75 RBIs. And then you, like you said, the pitching, 8-2, 1.79, 95 strikeouts. So, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, I don't think Pete Crow has 95 strikeouts that he's tossed this year. But I know Jacob has, but you know, Jacob's not hitting either.
Also true. Sarah, do you think PCA has a chance, or are you going with Shohei?
I'm going to go with Jacob, to be honest.
Jacob? All right. I like that. I'd love to see. We haven't had a dual winner in forever too. I'd have to look up that stat of when someone won the Cy Young and the MVP. I think it's been a while since that's happened. That would be.
I think Roger Clemens did it like twice.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how far back we got to go. I'll have to look that stat up for fun.
I think one with Boston, one with Toronto.
All right, so there we have it, folks. That is the baseball side here. So let's do this. We've got our final 6 teams in the NHL to break down. We're going to do that right after we come back from this. All right, folks, we are back, and we are down to our last 6 teams. So as you know, throughout the course of this offseason, we've been kind of looking at every team as far as where they are at and who they've added, who they've lost, and if we think that's going to make them better or worse for next year. We started with the bottom part of the rankings as far as the points that they got from the year before, and now we are up to our top 6 teams. So we start with the Montreal Canadiens, who went 48, 24, and 10. Of course, they got into the Eastern Conference Final against the Carolina Hurricanes, where they lost in 5 games. Overall, not really a lot changed here either. Their key losses are Brendan Gallagher, who they traded away to Vancouver. They did add Brent Bedard, which I put a question mark if that is really a big add or not. But the one thing I do want to give them credit for is they did lock up Ivan Demidov and Jacob Dobish, their goaltender, to long-term deals. So that's a win in my book, because those guys were set to become restricted free agents at the end of this coming year. They get them locked up long-term with some of their cap space that they had. That to me is a win. So the question I have for the group is this the team to look out for in the Atlantic for next season? Scooter, I start with you.
Yeah, I mean, they went to the conference finals against the Canes, and you know, people were looking at Montreal as they could be a team going to the Stanley Cup. And at one point, you know, they were Canada's hope. But yeah, Marty St. Louis, Kent Hughes, they have fine production there. I mean, they increased 15 points from the previous season. And so both of the GM and the head coach are from Quebec, so it's nice to kind of do this hometown thing going on there. And Marty St. Louis is just great. So I think they're going to continue what they're doing, and they're going to be a team to compete for the Stanley Cup. I'm not saying they're in. I'm just saying they're going to be one of those teams.
They're in it. They're in it to win it.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'll let you finish your chug there real quick. What are your thoughts on Montreal?
I mean, I don't think much has changed compared to last season. I don't necessarily think last season was a fluke, because, I mean, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I feel like that's very hard for a fluke team to do. So I do still see them making it into the playoffs. I think it's just going to depend if they can still have the same I'm trying to think of the word. Maybe like dedication, you know, the same flair that they did this past season. Because, I mean, like, I loved watching them. I loved playing against them as a Canes fan. I think they do have a strong team for consideration and playoffs and and whatnot. So I think they'll probably do maybe around the same. I think they will make the playoffs. It just kind of varies of how far they're going to make it this time. I don't think it necessarily was a fluke, but it's still kind of hard to predict what's going to happen if they're going to make it as far as they did this year.
We will have our playoff prediction, our playoff predictions and NHL predictions coming up at the end of September when we do our special show, which we'll preview that here a little bit later on. But when we get to that show, this is going to be one of the teams I love. I just love what the Canadians, they're young, they are up and coming. I think, yes, we got 2 more teams to do because of the 3 teams that were so close in the Atlantic last year. Montreal finished 3rd in that grouping, but they beat Buffalo in 1 round, and then they took out Tampa Bay in the first round too. So, I think, other than Florida, I think it's going to be Florida and Montreal that are going to battle it out in the Atlantic this year for 1-2. I really, really, really like this team, and they are young and they are fast. So there we have Montreal. So the team that they beat in the first round of the playoffs in a game 7, which was kind of crazy because in that game 7, if you recall correctly, Montreal only had 9 shots on goal, yet they won the game. Tampa Bay finishes at 50, 26-6 with 106 points. They were number 5 overall. Their big losses on defense, which was Darren Radish, who they lost to Toronto, who just really overpaid him. They did add Elon Mikheyev and John Carlson kind of as the replacement for that. And, look, Carlson, 4 or 5 years ago, that would be one hell of an ad. He's still got the offensive side of it. I don't know what he's going to give them defensively, if that's going to work out well for Tampa Bay or not. But, I guess when you do have arguably one of the best goalies in the game still in goal, maybe you can take that risk. So can this team get one more with an aging core? That is my question to you, Scooter.
Yeah, so it's interesting because the next 4 out of the 5 teams that we're going to talk about are the epitome of consistency in the NHL. And I'm not talking for 5 years. I'm talking 10 years or more, these teams. And Tampa's right there. I mean, they have 3 Stanley Cup championship appearances, 2 Stanley Cup championships. Julien Brisebois has been with the team since 2010, their general manager. He's been a GM since 2018. Cooper's in there forever. 12 playoff appearances, 14 seasons, really 13 seasons. He's definitely a future Hall of Fame coach. So really, could this be the year that they drop off a little bit? Probably. If there's a team on this that drops off, still makes the playoffs, it's Tampa. I don't know if they're competing for the Stanley Cup Finals, but they're making the playoffs.
Sarah,
what do you think on Tampa?
I don't think they're going to be able to get one more cup with this core. You show up Anthony's comment, because I do kind of agree with that. It scares me a little bit, because I do like the ads of John Carlson. Of course, that was so complicated with Carolina. It was so weird. And I do think adding Ilya Mikheyev, it's good, but I don't know if it's great compared to say how all the other teams are doing. I think obviously Montreal beat them in the playoffs, and that was a brutal series. And I don't think Tampa lost in a brutal way. Montreal only having 16 shots on goal compared to however many. So I think they will probably still manage to make the playoffs, but it's either they're going to make it and, probably go out in the first round, or it's going to, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of giving first round exit right now.
I think we all got the same vibes on Tampa, and I agree with Anthony's vibe there too. They're aging, and they're getting that's why I put the question this way of, can they get one more with an aging core? I don't know. But look, even Vasilevsky last year didn't always look like the same Vasilevsky of old too. So you've got all these guys getting one more year older. So I kind of feel like I'm with you, Scooter. I think they're still going to be in the playoffs. I don't think they're bad enough where they're going to be out of the playoffs, but this might be the year where they kind of look at things and say, okay, is it time to start thinking about the future? One other comment here that I missed when we were talking about Montreal from Anthony. So Anthony, glad you're checking in on the hockey side of it. Always good to have you checking in on this part. I don't think Montreal is going to be as good as they were last year, because I think they took advantage of the fact that the Panthers were injured. There could be some truth to that, but I will say this right now today, if you needed me to pick a goaltender who I'd rather have in a game 7 between Jacob Dobish or Jacob Markstrom, I'll take Dobish. Now, defense-wise, I agree. Florida is still much better defensively than what Montreal is at. But goaltender-wise, I like Dobish a lot. Like, I think he's got, and look, and he did have some issues when they went up against Carolina, but I think some of that too was, they had to play 2 7-game series before they ran into the storm that was the Carolina Hurricanes. So I do like that a lot. But I can see that side on Montreal. But look, I'm bullish on that young team for sure. Anything else on Tampa or Montreal that you two want to add? All right, so our team number 4 is an interesting one as well. They ended up winning the Atlantic Division, 50-23-9, 109 points. Look, it was a great story. It was the first time that they made the playoffs in forever. Then they win around by beating Boston. They do lose a tough 7-game series to Montreal. Then they made some moves. They lose Bone Byram to Chicago, who really overpaid for him. They also lose Alex Tuck, who likely wasn't going to sign there again either. They do add Owen Zellinger from Anaheim, which is a decent little add. But my question is this: are they one and done, or are they hanging around? Is this the start of something? Was last year the start of something for Buffalo to get excited about? Scooter, what do you think? One and done, or are they hanging around?
Yeah, so this is the team, the one team out of the 5 teams I just said that were the only one that wasn't consistent. But I was wrong, because they consistently didn't make the playoffs for so many years. So they were consistent. But yeah, I mean, they increased, 30 points? Their increase in 2 seasons. So Lindy Ruff, he's been there, he was there forever, and then he left, coached a whole bunch of teams, and he came back 2 years ago. And so they only won 36 games 2 years ago, his first season back. But then they hired Jarmo Kekalainen. Yeah, tried to say that a few times. He was the former GM of Columbus, longtime GM of Columbus, who he came in there immediately, and he brought in some players and took care of business. I mean, big time. So I think they're there. I think they're good, and I think it's going to be consistent. So I see them making the playoffs. Maybe perhaps they drop a touch, but they're in the playoffs. This is a good team.
Sarah?
I think they're in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were. I think it might still be maybe like a wild card thing going on, same with maybe between them and Tampa again. But I still do think they're going to make the playoffs. And obviously I think their fan base is strong enough. They're going to have enough home support to kind of keep them going. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to be as good, but I still think they're on the right track.
I hope they're good, because you know why? They have arguably one of the best names in hockey, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I mean, that's just fun to say. You got, so I want them to be good, because I just want to be able to say his name a lot.
Well, that's just like Jarmo Kekalainen.
Right. Yeah.
Their GM, he's just bringing on guys that are just like him.
Yep. So Anthony has some comments on here. He says Buffalo and Montreal are the same boat for me. They're young. Things took advantage of who wasn't fully healthy last year. I don't think Buffalo is going to be as good as they were last year. And he says, I think Montreal and Buffalo are going to be wild card teams this year. And let's see here. He's talking about with the Markstrom Dobish. Markstrom is too inconsistent. I hope I get that the one that almost won the best goalie award for a few seasons ago, not the one from last year. Yeah, and that's what we talked about when we talked about Florida's. Which Markstrom are you going to get? If you get the one from a couple years ago, the sky's the limit for the Florida Panthers. If you get the Markstrom from the New Jersey Devils last year, no bueno. But we'll see what happens with that side of it. So overall, I think I'm in agreement with you guys. I think Buffalo will still make the playoffs next year. I don't know that they will be quite as good as they were this year. Whether that means that can they still win a playoff series? Yeah, I think they could, depending on who they get in that first round. But I could also see them not winning a playoff series that they get in, because there's just a lot of teams I think that have gotten better. So that brings us to number 3, and we finally go back out west for the first time in a while, and it is the Dallas Stars, the enigma that is the Dallas Stars. They go 50-20-12, and they get 112 points. They lose Maverick Bourque, they lose Ilo Labushkin, and they lose Alex Petrovic. They do add Tyler Myers. The big story for them was, of course, this whole Jason Robertson saga, which ends with him only signing a 1-year deal. And so now we're going to have that hanging over this team throughout the deadline. Let's add in the fact that for whatever reason, this team is a very good regular season team, but they've not, look, this is the same as our number 2 team, that when we get to them, a big push on this team is always they do really good in the regular season, but when it comes time to playoffs, maybe they'll win a series and then that's it. This year they did not even win a series. They lose to Minnesota in the first round. So my question for you guys is, can they do something before they lose Jason Robertson? Because I can't see Jason Robertson coming back again after this year. He's going to be UFA. They're going to be able to do whatever. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants. So Scooter, what are your thoughts on this Dallas Stars team?
So just to get back to what you're saying about the Stars, about them, maybe they get into the playoff, or they get into the playoffs and lose. I think they, minus this past year, they went to like 3 conference finals in a row. So they do win games in the playoffs. They just don't get to the Stanley Cup. Now they do have a newer head coach, if you will. He's in the 2nd season, Glenn Gulletson. So he hasn't been there. He was there for 2 years ago when they lost to the Oilers, but last year in round 1. And Jim Nill, the GM's been there since 2013. So if there's a team that's probably going to falter, it's probably going to be the Dallas Stars, because we all know they lost to the Wild, and I think we're all in agreement that the Wild it's a pretty good team, and so I think we're seeing that kind of thing going. I think Dallas probably makes the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be. We're not going to talk about them as the number 3 team next year on this show.
I think before we get to you, Sarah, Anthony's right there in agreement too. Good regular season team, great team in the 1st and 2nd round, but can't get past the conference finals. Showtime, what are your thoughts on the Dallas Stars?
I think Dallas will make the playoffs and be in the top 3 just due to the fact of how, obviously, again, we talked about it, how weak the Western Conference is in general. But once they get to the playoffs, it's a whole different story. There's just higher competition, because obviously the teams that do make the playoffs and in the Western side, those are the good teams. Yes, last season, you still had some of the wild card teams that got in with 15 overtime wins or overtime losses, and then you're like, oh, maybe this team isn't as good as we thought. But I think again they will make it just based off of how the competition is spread out in the West. But once they get to the playoffs, it's going to be close to a 2nd round conference final exit. They're just not going to be able to fully get it,
Again, and to put this playoff thing about the Stars is the past 7 years, they've gone to they've lost 3 conference finals, and they've lost 1 Stanley Cup finals. So there's some myth that says that they don't do well in the playoffs. They do. They just don't win the Stanley Cup.
I feel like a lot of people would think Dallas is the Carolina Hurricanes of the West. Obviously the Canes finally pushed through that. I don't think Dallas is going to be able to push through that for a while now.
Yeah, I think my fear for this team is this whole Jason Robertson thing, because that's going to be hanging. That is a black cloud hanging over because look, the second Dallas gets off to they lose 3 or 4 games in a row. Oh, well, it's time to trade Robertson. You got to get something for him. You can't just let him walk. Anytime Dallas loses 3 or 4 games this season, that's going to be the comments that are going to be made. Well, you got to move Robertson. You got to get something for him. So unless this team just does something on a crazy, really good run to keep that talk away, I am nervous about that for this team. I just don't know. They've got some other good young talent players. It's not a question of that. So I think, and look, the bottom line is true. They are in the Western Conference. If this team was in the Eastern Conference, I might actually be concerned about them making the playoffs. But out West, they're going to get a lot of easy points when they play those Pacific Division teams. They're going to get a lot of easy points when they don't play a Colorado or Utah or Minnesota in the Central too. So I think they will obviously make the playoffs. But yeah, I don't see this. I don't see them making that push to get in there. Talking about Minnesota, he has to do it with a specific. I think he's talking about if they can re-sign Quinn Hughes or not. A lot of people feel he's not going to re-sign Minnesota. I think they've got still another year before they got to worry about that or not. But for this year, I think they're in really good in a really good spot. Let's see here. Not sure if you guys talked about this yet, but did you see the little cheating scandal that just broke out during the regional? Oh, no, we did not talk about Little League Baseball this year. I did see that breaking, but it was too late to kind of add in there. But yeah, I saw something about where they were doing their little passing of signs over. So we'll see how that plays out with Little League Baseball for sure. So, all right. So there we have the Dallas Stars. And then we have this, that graphic looks different for some reason. I like that graphic. Don't you, Sarah? That looks really neat, doesn't it? A little different than the
I'm still waiting for the graphic to change behind all of us.
So that'll change after this week, Scooter. I decided that it gets to stay through the teams, and then it'll be gone after this week.
I get it. I'm 100% with you.
Anyway, so we have the Carolina Hurricanes, who technically were number 2 last year, 53-22-7 for 113 points. Of course, they went on the great run in the Stanley Cup Finals to finally get the monkey off of Rod Brindamore's back and win the Stanley Cup Finals, only losing 3 games. This team, there's not really a lot to talk about adds and loss. Yes, they lost Freddie Anderson to Edmonton, so it will be up to PK and one Brandon Bussi in goal for this year. Then they have not added anybody yet. Now, Alexander Nishishkin is a restricted free agent. There's still a lot of talk over if he's going to get traded, and if so, what that trade would look like, of what they're going to bring in. But for now, he's still on the roster. So this team is really, which you don't really see a lot. There's normally where you see these Stanley Cup champion teams and they get picked apart, but their core is locked up. It's still locked up. So there just wasn't a lot of pieces for anyone to pick apart from this team. So the question is, can they repeat, or will there be a Stanley Cup hangover? Scooter, I start with you.
I mean, they certainly can repeat. And I mean, as we just discussed with the Dallas Stars for their postseason success minus winning the Stanley Cups. So you can go for years and years and have long runs and still be really good. And Carolina's been doing this for several years now, and they finally won the Cup. So, yeah, I mean, they can certainly repeat and win they're the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. There's no question about that on their makeup and everything. Now, the question is, like you were saying, goaltending. But if they get better goaltending than what they had last year, I mean, the sky's the limit for them. It could be repeat time.
Sarah, what are your thoughts on the Carolina Hurricanes?
I think we are set offensively and defensively. I think we didn't really have to add anybody. And as much as I wanted us to lose KK, he's still there. But the only thing I'm a little slightly worried about is our goaltending, and it's just in the fact of our goaltending seems to be very on and off. And I love Bussi with my heart. But Carolina has a history of having these fire goaltenders for a season, and the next season they turn to dust. And I think I've seen enough from Bussi to think it's not going to happen. But I could be completely wrong on that. And PK being out so long, it's like I don't know how he's going to be returning. And I'm pretty sure Carolina's going to do the thing where they try to give each goaltender a chance. Probably will be 50-50. I don't think either of them is going to be starting goaltender. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how they play. I'll obviously need a couple games to see, like, okay, they got it, like, we're good. But I mean, again, our goaltenders are so on and off. So I think as long as our offense and defense can keep up with the on and off goaltending, we will be fine. There is a chance for a repeat. But I am still a little worried about the goaltending, and I kind of hope we make a move, like trade deadline wise, midseason, say if the goaltending isn't working out.
Yeah, and I think that's why the Canes have held this little cap space that they've got, it kind of in this little bubble. One, Seth Jarvis is going to be out till January. He's recovering from a shoulder surgery. The plan is they've got 3 or 4 of these young kids, because look, we talk all the time about how Carolina does this. They trade down in drafts and they get more draft capital, and so they've got 3 or 4 guys. Nadeau is likely going to be the one that will step up and play in Jarvis's role until he's ready. He did very well for them in a small sample size last year, so that's going to be big. But it does come down to the goaltending. Bussi and PK are very similar. They are not faint for the heart to watch in goal. They are not your standard, goalies where they're going to play the angles and they're where they're supposed to be. These two do not always have the right angles, but they are both very athletic. And so they make saves that you're not expecting them to make, but they'll also give up some goals where you're like, what the hell are you doing? So it's going to be a nervous time with those two as you're 1 and 2. Like, look, I love Freddie, and look, he did not have a good regular season, but in the playoffs, he was back to steady Freddie, which is just, he's just there. He makes the saves he's supposed to make. He doesn't always make the ones that you'd love to see him make, but he was consistently there in the playoffs until, towards the end, and then Bussy came in and was just incredible against Vegas. So I don't know that can be expected of this team or not. So I feel better. I wasn't even sure if Rod was going to come back. I wasn't sure if Stahl was going to come back. They are coming back for 1 more year. Then it's going to get interesting because you're going to start seeing, well, Rod's going to leave to go somewhere else. He isn't. If Rod leaves, it's going to be because he's just done coaching. I will tell everyone this right now. Rod Brindamore is not coaching for another team other than the Carolina Hurricanes. When he's done, it's just going to be because he's done, because he's put his heart and soul into this team for 8 years. It seems like reading the tea leaves of what him and Jordan Stahl were talking about. Jordan's coming back for 1 more year because he wants to make the run at this thing again. And it kind of sounds like those two plan on going out together. So I think it's this could be Rod Brindamore's last year coaching in the NHL. Depending on how this thing plays out. Now, if he loses in a way that he doesn't like, maybe he comes back without Jordan. But I got that vibe when you heard Jordan and Rod talking. Did you get that, Sarah, from seeing the posts, the post comments that followed this summer?
I think Jordan's got 1 or 2 more years. I don't think Rod's done yet. I don't think it's going to be the same time as Stahl necessarily. Because I just like Rod's coaching anyway, so it's kind of hard to kind of envision who would take up Rod's spot right now. And again, like if they make another run for it, they get it. Like I do think that they would still try to stay, especially Rod, because he's built such a great foundation, anyways. But Jordan is getting close. I will admit that. Maybe I just don't want Rod to be getting close. That's probably it.
I don't either, but I just hearing him talk kind of gave those vibes this summer of, because he worked so hard to get here. Now that he's here, he does want to go for it again, but I don't know what she has. I don't know what he's done. He's done what he wanted to accomplish. His whole entire goal was to bring a Stanley Cup back to Raleigh. He's done that. So I don't know. Scooter, anything else on it?
Rod Brindamore just turned 56 years old.
He's fine.
Which is crazy to think that's just a few years older than me. But let's just say I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. Let's just say he retires, right? He's like, oh, I'm 60 years old. You know what I want to do? I want to coach hockey again. He's the kind of guy that I don't think kind of quits.
No, he's not.
He could retire. He could leave. I'm done. I don't have any more energy to put into this at the moment. Take a few years off. All of a sudden, he's just like, bam, I got to get back out there.
But if he does, I just don't see him coaching anywhere other than Carolina. I just don't.
Homer.
Well, no, it's not that, but he's kind of come out and said that he's like, it's not about coaching for him. It's about coaching that team. Unless something changes in his mindset, I don't see him coaching anywhere else. Like, I just don't.
Coach
so. Oh, never know.
All
right. Then we have this interesting team, the Colorado Avalanche, who finished number 1. They were lights out and above. Like they were 8 points better than Carolina. They were 9 points better than Dallas. 55, 16, and 11. Just an incredible regular season. I think everyone did not see them losing. Not only that they lost to Vegas, but how they lost to Vegas in the Eastern Conference Final in just 5 games. They lose Valerie Nishishkin, they lose Jack Drury, and they lose Ross Colton due to salary cap. They did add Jaden Schwartz from Seattle, which I do like that add. But this team is kind of an interesting spot too. So can they respond from their shocking playoff exit? Scooter, I lead off that question with you.
Again, let's just look at what they got going there. So Joe Sakic, their general manager, has been there for, I don't know how many years, a million. He was there in Quebec. He was a Nordique. I remember watching him play against the Whalers in Hartford. But Jared Bednar, their head coach, he's been there 10 years. The only time he missed the playoffs was his first season. And they've won a cup. And they're very consistent. They just said, sometimes you'll lose. So I expect them to be right back on top of things again. They're a top 3 team in the league. They could. This year, we might be talking about how they're the Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, your turn before I give my thoughts.
I mean, it's okay. The order, I don't care. But this one's hard to say. I mean, again, kind of like what I said with Dallas, I think that they would still make the playoffs just considered of how the Central is. Yes, some teams in the Central have gotten stronger, so I think there is better competition compared to the Pacific Division. But it's still, I still feel like their losses are pretty significant. So I think it would hurt them a little bit more. I don't see them being number 1. I see them kind of being like maybe fighting for, I don't know. It's such a toss up between them, Minnesota, and Dallas. I know I'm not getting a straight answer, but I kind of see them doing worse, but they'll still make the playoffs. So then how they go from the playoffs is kind of considerable because I think they will meet some challenging teams.
Yeah, I mean, this team can still score goals, right? Like they haven't lost their goal scorers. They still have arguably the best defenseman in the league, and Makar too. For them, look, we've talked about this a lot throughout the series. Is the goaltending? Like last year, the Woods were great. Wedgwood and Blackwood were really really good for them until the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they weren't really that good. They managed to get through Minnesota with those hiccups. They could not get by Vegas, and I think if anything, Vegas kind of exposed a way to beat Colorado. Now, you can't really do that through an 82. Well, now it will be 84 game season. It's a little bit harder to do that, but you can take a certain type of game to Colorado, and Vegas kind of showed that if you just stick on them and are very physical with them, they kind of went away in that series by just being pretty much out physical. They definitely out physical them in that playoff series. So there's now a roadmap of how to beat this team in the playoffs. So I think yes. Regular season wise, this team is clearly going to be there. We talk about how bad the Western Conference is compared to the Eastern Conference. They're going to be 1 or 2 in that division with Minnesota. I think we'll get to that when we get to our predictions. But I don't like this team to make the Stanley Cup final. So there we have it, folks. That's it for hockey for right now. Let's see here. I think I got one last little comment here. Let's see here. Anthony, I feel Colorado is the only team in the West that can match physicality. Why did that go away? What's going on with my thing? There it goes. Florida in the finals. See, I didn't get that physicality vibe from Colorado against Vegas. I thought Vegas was way more physical with Colorado, and that's what helped them win that series. But Anthony does like Colorado to make the Stanley Cup final, which it's not a terrible prediction at all. I don't know, something about Colorado just I don't like for next year, but we'll see how that all plays out. So we're going to take a little break from hockey now that we've gotten through every team. So I will be off next week. I'll be doing some camping out in the middle of Ohio with very little reception. So it's going to be the Showtime and Scooter Show probably on Monday. Small chance it could be on Tuesday because Sarah hasn't gotten her work schedule yet. So who knows what shenanigans these two will have for you next week, but I'm sure it'll be fun and you'll want to tune in to see what they pull off. Then after that, on August 31st, we will have the debut of the Sideline Junkies podcast college football top 10 poll. Speaking of polls here, let me pull this back up because I had it up and then I lost it. The AP did release their top 25. We're only going to go through the top 10. So the AP top 10 was Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3, Notre Dame 4, Texas 5, Indiana 6, Miami 7, Texas A&M 8, Ole Miss 9, and Oklahoma 10. So that is the AP top 10. What will be the Sideline Junkies top 10? You'll have to tune in 2 weeks to find out. Basically, all the guys and gals that host the show will be giving their top 10, and then we'll be compiling those up to spew out the rankings, and then we can give our opinions on that. But there is there. Sarah is a perfectly innocent angel. She wouldn't pull any shenanigans when you're gone, and I don't like what you're talking about. See, she's my daughter. I do know. Yeah. No, you're right. Well, but it's good. Shenanigans can be good shenanigans, Anthony. So don't worry.
The next guy who said shenanigans, I'm kicking the crap out of. Hey, what's that bar? It's Super Troopers. If you guys remember that.
Mrs. Bossman like the Sarah comment, and then my Annie Lane, who is a huge Ohio State fan, likes the Buckeyes all the way. So and I don't. We'll get into the baseball stuff later, but I don't want to. I don't want to. If we'll do, or I'm trying to get out of here at 6:30 because I'm really proud of ourselves. So I don't want to. I don't want to get into college football yet. Oh boy, the comments are getting there. All right, so then we got that on September 7th. We're going to recap the first weekend, and then it's going to be a fun. And I don't know what time we're starting on Labor Day yet because we're going to have a big show on Labor Day. I think we're going to do a 6-round mock draft. We're going to all draft a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. And then I'm going to kind of try to keep track using a standard scoring to see who does what with their team from the mock draft as far as who scores the most points week in and week out. And then September 28th will be our NHL season preview show. So that's what's coming up on Drive Time. Then, of course, you got all the great shows here on the network. Coming up tonight on the Pretenders and Contenders, Coach Powell is going to be doing a Prince George County 3A and 4A football preview show. So that will be coming up here at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, you got Flying Brian and Lee Ice coming up tomorrow with Unapologetic Sports. I believe they are doing the NFC and AFC North tomorrow. If you missed it last week, they did the South divisions. That was a lot of fun. The Tuesday night flight then will be after them, right after that. And then you got, of course, the Thursday night throwdown on Thursday. I'm sure these guys will be getting into some of the college football talk with the top 10 coming up. And then one of my favorite news shows, the Friday Night Freestyle. Mrs. Bossman has been on that quite a bit, which is great seeing her on there. And the fun part about Friday Night Freestyle is it's just that. It's totally free. You don't know what the topics are going to be. They're going to switch. I think they got into some good dining topics last week, which was a lot of fun. I was trying to catch a bit of that last week. So you just never know. And they got into, I think, some DJs and who was good DJs and stuff like that. So it may be sports. It may not be sports. You just never know what's going to happen on that show. But I promise you this, you want to check it out this coming Friday night. And then, of course, the show that started us all off, the WrestleManiacs, is Saturday at 9. And then the Sunday Rise at 11 o'clock is what gets you started during the week. So there you have it. So I think I'm guesstimating here. I think that was 9 show plugs there that we got all at the end. So there you have it. So that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. In a nutshell, we've had some fun. We've had some laughs. We've had some cries. It's been a good show. So, Scooter, any last second thoughts that you'd like to throw out there?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the Sideline Junkies fantasy football season like we've done the past few seasons. So let's get that started up.
Yep, we're just a couple weeks away from getting that going. I will say this: I've gotten a few of our votes in so far. There's going to be some, the top 4 seems to be pretty standard through everybody. We were having an open mic night for poetry on Friday. So see that's what I'm talking about. Like you don't get that. What sports network gives you an open mic night for poetry? I'm sure the Midnight Rider and his what's the name of his poet name? Why can I think of his poet name? When he does his poetry on Facebook, Scooter, why can I not think of what he calls himself on that?
I don't know. I just call myself Rudyard Kipling. So
I'm drawing a blank. So, but anyway, that's going to be good stuff for sure. So, and I'm sorry, Midnight Rider, I should have it, and now I'm drawing a complete mental break because now I'm starting to think about what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. So my mind is going off here. So yeah, dinner. Sarah, any last second thoughts here for you?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. That's it. School started, right?
Yes.
All right, we're doing okay so far.
I haven't even gone to the first class yet. It's not until I don't have to go until tomorrow. So I guess I'm doing good because I don't have any grades in. So
Hey, sounds like an A to me.
Right.
All right. I got nothing either. Other than I did officially. Where's it at up here? Hold on. I had it right here. I moved it somewhere. Darn it. Where did I put it? Anyway, it is official. I have officially signed all up for. It's in there. No, well, anyway, my crest came in for USA Hockey. So year 23 is now officially here for youth sports. So that's crazy. I'll be doing a year 23 in hockey. I gotta find that crest though. I gotta get on I start September 12th will be the first 3 games. I have a Pee-wee triple header. Sure should be lots and lots of fun. And then I have a high school game the next weekend. That should be great fun. So yeah, fun. Yay me. All right, that's it. We're done. It's 6:34. Time to get out of here. Again, Pretenders Contenders coming up here at 7 o'clock here very shortly. Until then, make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them and that you hug them, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But hopefully you'll be with Scooter and Sarah next week. I will be having a chair on a river with my feet in it for a week straight, and drinking some cold ones likely will be happening. So maybe I'll be able to check in, maybe not. But either way, I'll be back in 2 weeks myself. So until then, everyone, take care. Love y'all. Have a good one. See ya.